Hey there, everybody. This is the Bones and Tub Show. We are brought to you by no one in particular, because advertisements suck.
Yeah, they do.
We are brought to you, however, by Catherine, Marie Doherty, Evelyn, and Agris Girl, our 3 patrons at patreon.com/bones and tubs. And we don't have, anything else. We're not trying to sell you a mattress. We're not trying to tell you anything about beard oil or...
No special food boxes or anything like that.
No.
We're brought to you, just like PBS, by viewers like you.
And this is the Bones and Tub Show.
The Bones and Tub Show.
And sets another day. Billions will kneel and pray. Anything to wait, escape from the world so cold and gray.
And we're back with another episode of Bones and Tubs.
Got Aaron the Red in the house.
Aaron the Red in the house today.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
He took the money that we collected, made a computer. So I told him he needed to start his computer business. I forget what was it you called it?
Redman Computing.
Nice.
That's right.
I hope it's a thing now, because...
I hope it's offensive to everyone. I hope I triggered a bunch of people.
It should be. In my mind, I pictured Redman Chew with the Indian face.
That's what I'm going for right there.
Yeah.
Surprised they haven't made them change that name.
Oh, well, the Cleveland Indians just changed.
I know.
So I'm sure Redman will be behind him.
Wait, the Cleveland Indians changed? I didn't know about that.
Or no, they changed the mascot, right?
Next year, yeah.
What did they change the mascot to?
Oh, I'm sure it's something asexual and fucking primitive.
Well, the Washington Redskins have refused to change still, right?
They should refuse.
I know, right?
It's thought control.
It is.
Can't believe they changed Big Chief.
I sent that to Elmo the other day, and he just was like, fuck everything, because he already had to give up on the NFL after his team, the Browns, threw up the Black Power fist. He's like, it's one thing you want to drop a knee. A couple of you drop a knee, but you're throwing up Black Power? I don't think so.
Well, they are called the Browns for a reason.
Exactly. I don't know. I'm glad I never had the gene that allowed me to be controlled via sports.
Chief, I call it Big Chief. His name is actually Chief Wahoo.
Yeah, Wahoo, right.
So they're not going to sell wampum anymore either at the stadium? Or?
No, I don't know.
What about Firewater?
Like I say, it just says that they're changing it, but it doesn't say exactly who. Well,
Can't smoke your peace pipe there either now.
It is what it is.
I mean, what are you going to do about it? This new progressive age. Yeah.
Fight back. Don't be a cuck.
I mean, I don't...
The doctor sent me a meme today that had a picture of a female doing that ever so important selfie face. The duck face.
Oh, yeah.
So we've all seen the duck face, and then it had like 50 different beta males, and it said the new thing is the cuck face.
What was this cuck face? What'd that look like?
Oh. Just a similarly weak beta male that's fine with his wife being out at 3 a.m. with some person of color. Hashtag Craigslist Rog Dog.
Yeah. Well, apparently, according to all these news stories that they want us to believe, that's actually very healthy for a relationship.
Oh, really?
Getting cucked?
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm not saying
I
that.
know. I was responding to them through you because you're the vessel,
Yeah.
That's how I would respond.
I mean,
really?
I look at those news articles and know what it is.
Yeah.
They're trying to, it's one of those things where it's like, they're trying to make what people use to, basically, put them down as, something cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a cuck because cucking's cool.
Right.
What are you going to do? It's the best.
Man.
Didn't you know that?
Didn't you know that that's probably the only thing missing in your life? If you're not happy, you should just let a...
Is it a hipster thing?
Oh, yeah. Well, hipster, I mean, it's...
Or was it?
I would say it's similarly mainstream in the leftist society. Who was it that wrote... Was it Salon that had that article last year? It came out. It was written... It was a letter. Let me see if I can find it. I'd like to read it to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
At least the beginning.
I would like to hear it. Yeah, at least
We'll
part of it.
edit out all this dead
Can you
space.
summarize it before
So
you find it?
here's the question. Here's the ultimate.
I don't want to ruin it.
Here's the ultimate question. Did they become cucks because people called them cucks, and it was like some sort of prophecy that was given to them, or were they just already cucks? Did people just nail it on the head and figure out what they were, or was it because they kept being called it so much that they became the thing that it's not a self-fulfilled prophecy? It's more a imposed prophecy.
I think society made them cucks.
It pressured them into being cucks.
pressured them.
Like, going from being metaphysical cucks to actual cucks.
Right, yeah.
Like, it just completely, like, the whole pressure of it just turned them.
So
it just lets you know how weak they are.
Yes, very weak.
Proverbial soy boys.
Soy boy.
But yeah.
It's goddamn Valentine's Day, so all the news searches are fucking swamped with bullshit. But it basically starts out in the perspective of this guy who's, he leads you to believe, he's like, I'm sitting at home, my kids are in bed, I just imagine him enjoying a nice chai tea, with probably some soy protein. Hashtag soy boy.
Soy boy.
And he's like, my wife is on a date with Alejandro. And she came home, and it's like he's laying in bed, and he talks about how he's so sexually turned on because she's telling him about their night and how hard he fucked her and all these things. And it was in Salon or some.
I know. I remember
like
the article.
A true story?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a true story.
It's supposed to be in defense of cuckdom.
Yeah. It was like the cuck piece.
Like, he didn't do it. He didn't go out and find. It wasn't and that's a weird thing. You ever notice, like, when people talk about being in an open relationship, you ever notice it's generally
just
always the woman who's out doing nasty?
Yeah.
If that tells you anything.
A lot of, I guess you could call it research. I don't know. I don't know if it's actually research. But I want to make a video about Craigslist. I started a long time ago when I first started moving around to different places. Fairfield, when I was, I believe, 22 or 23.
Yeah.
And I started it then, but then it like evolved into vacation, where I'd go on vacation to different places and I'd check Craigslist, the casual encounters page, just to see what kind of freaks were in the area.
Of course.
Currently.
They're all there.
And there's a lot of cuckdom.
Oh, yeah.
And that was
I want to
before.
watch you fuck my wife, shit like that, right?
That was years before all this whole cuckdom thing happened. So it was like the underground, checking the pulse of the nation.
Oh, yeah. It's always been there.
But I checked it today because I wanted to mention it. Valentine's Day, Craigslist. It's on fleek.
Oh,
People
yeah?
are giving their wives away.
Bet. Like, come fuck my wife.
And because we're not cool with it. I love how they flip it, though. Because we're not cool with that shit. Well, we're fragile.
Yeah, we're fragile. They're the strong ones.
Yeah.
How about you go fuck yourself?
Right. Right. Did you watch that SNL skit that I sent you?
I did. It made me spit out cereal.
I love it when him and Steve Buscemi start getting into it together. They're like, ooh.
I miss those days.
Steve Buscemi reminded me of something. You guys watched all of Electric Dreams yet?
Yeah, I've watched it.
All but one or two.
All but one or two.
What was your favorite one?
My favorite one.
I think
it was the one with Bryan Cranston.
That one was really good.
It was really good.
Kill All Others might have been my favorite.
That was probably my favorite.
What was that one?
Has the big dude and he's like a factory worker.
Oh yeah,
and It's like one mono North American state.
It was
And the one like person running for president like just randomly throws it in there into her speech, and he's the only one that's like
what the.
He's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Right.
He looks at his wife. She's not paying attention.
She wasn't even in the room.
Yeah.
She's probably getting finger blasted by a coffee ad.
Yeah. And then he goes to work the next day and tries to ask his work buddies about it. And they're like, we don't get into politics,
We don't know what you're talking about, bruh.
Yeah.
I'd say
those are all Philip K. Dick short stories.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've read a couple of them.
I didn't realize he wrote so many.
Oh, dude.
He's like
he was more of a short story kind of writer. Like, he was more like I put him in the same camp as like Ray Bradbury, where they have full-fledged novels, but they were more about writing shitloads of short stories. Mm-hmm. Like, even Isaac Asimov to an extent was a lot like that. He wrote series, but he also was big in like I, Robot is just a series of short stories tied together by the link of robotics. Huh. Like, that's all it really is. It's not one continuous plot.
If Bones could have a wish, it would be that they would make And The Rock Cried Out, a show.
And The Rock Cried Out?
It's by Ray Bradbury.
See, now you got me stumped, because I've read a ton of Ray Bradbury, and that one's...
It's at the very end of the version of... the one of Fahrenheit 451. Right? He wrote Ray Bradbury?
Yeah, he wrote that, yeah.
It's at the very end of the version that I have. And... I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I encourage everyone to go out and Google And The Rock Cried Out.
Watching Electric Dreams makes me want
There's,
them to make a Kurt Vonnegut series of the same way, where they just do short stories by Kurt Vonnegut, because there is a ton of short stories by him that are just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually an episode of Babylon 5, Season 3, Episode 20, if anybody's interested. The title is And the Rock Cried Out, No Hiding Place. I've never watched all of Babylon 5. I didn't really get into it. It was a little too hokey for me, but here it's a pretty good show if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Check it out on
Electric
binge.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Now, here's the ultimate question. Both of you have watched Electric Dreams, and both of you have watched Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think is better?
Well,
Electric Dreams.
Here's the thing.
they're very different. I don't think really you kind
I
of
see. I compare because they're sci-fi anthology.
right.
So, like,
It's true.
I like to put them in. They're at least in the same
I only
wheelhouse,
say
if not across from each
Electric
other.
Dreams is
Yeah.
better because Black Mirror makes me uncomfortable.
Black Mirror is more like dismal. Like there's not really good outlooks. There was like one episode in this newest season that actually had like a happy ending.
Is that the space one?
No, the one where they were matching the people together. You thought it was going to be a shit
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
And they were all in just a simulation.
They were in a
and
simulation
Then
the
it
whole
went
time.
to like the real world, and then they're like, "Hey, how's
That
it going?" or
one.
whatever.
That one actually.
It was actually that was probably my favorite episode.
That was really good. From this season, I don't know, the last one, the Black Museum.
Oh, that
one was
cool too.
pretty
that,
fucking
that did have
phenomenal.
a happy ending too, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like, what the fuck?
Like, don't get me wrong, I like Black Mirror. I think it's good and all. But I think the problem is that it's partially ruined to me because I spend too much time on Tumblr. And the SJWs they just love claiming that show as their own, like,
What? I don't.
because they talk about how it touts diversity and how there's like,
It's all
there's,
set in the future.
but the
so
thing is, it's like, it ruins it for me just a little bit that
I'm
because
glad I never get on
there's shows
Tumblr.
that they don't like claim, really. Like, you don't see them claiming Game of Thrones. In
Right.
fact, you see them admonishing it most of the time because, it has a lot of violence and sex and things like that.
Right, because
And it
nobody
lacks,
does any of that
and it
stuff.
lacks diversity. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I like Electric Dreams better simply one, I like Philip K. Dick. He's one of
Right.
my favorite writers.
Yeah.
The dude was crazy as fuck. If you ever looked into his life, the dude was
really?
nuts.
Was he like doing cocaine? Or what?
He was doing a lot of drugs, but he was also like, he had like mental problems. Like, he had really bad paranoia,
Yeesh.
like, through his life. And he was like,
That'll make you a good writer for sure.
oh yeah, like, well, if you like A Scanner Darkly, like that to me is just like, and it's kind of autobiographical because it's about a drug addict fucking constantly worried that his friends are police, and
Probably were.
that, and like the mix of like psychotropic drugs and mental illness mixing together to make a fucking lethal combination of fucking wanting to kill everything. Like, but yeah, I'd say Electric Dreams, I like it better, but that's, like I said, it's for,
They all have much better outlooks. Most all the episodes do. So
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are episodes of Black Mirror where I was like,
that.
and I think that's the thing with the whole thing with sci-fi. You should be like, fuck
right.
this shit. And
Well, like,
a lot of
what was
times,
that
that's
one?
where Black Mirror goes. Like, the
They're
episode,
really good
The
at
one
making you
episode where they
uncomfortable.
had the little implant behind their
Redo?
ear. Yeah, Redo.
Yeah.
They recorded everything they ever saw.
Yeah, as soon as-
the guy
that
just mind fucked himself out of his
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
But it was all true. I mean, his suspicions
But that's
were
the
right.
thing, though,
but
like-
if he hadn't had that thing, he wouldn't have even fucking known.
Right.
He wouldn't have obsessed over it so much. And
he might have had some
whatever.
suspicion, but not
Right,
like,
right, exactly.
but he wouldn't have been able to like act on it. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
exactly.
That dude was me. That's why I didn't like that episode.
well, yeah. As soon as I started watching it and realizing what the premise was, I was like, no, I'm good on this. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
It took me over 2 weeks to watch that episode because I
really?
would take it in little bits, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta go
Yeah.
put my hand in the fucking
Yeah.
dishwasher. I can't do it.
I'm gonna go put some salt in my eye real
Yeah,
quick.
exactly.
I
I
saw
gotta
one
go.
little dog episode. It was all in black and white.
Oh,
It was mechanical.
Metalhead. I think that's what it was
I don't
called.
know,
With the little
mechanical-
robotic dog.
The little
Yeah.
mechanical dogs, they just went around and fucked you up and repaired themselves, and then
Right.
they'd call more in, and
Yeah.
it's just some fucking army of bullshit.
Before we get too off mark with
Oh
our
yeah, we're pretty.
sci-fi, jerk fest,
Right.
which is awesome. But let's go ahead and start some of these topics. 'Cause we got,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry to get you guys off topic.
Oh no, it's all right.
That's what we do here.
You hit me right in where my wheelhouse is. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Right, it's an emotional button.
like, I'm on the cusp. I just finished the first story of 4 of a collection of mostly sci-fi stories. So I'm in that realm right now. I'm living it. Where, and as I'm writing them. Sorry,
No, it's no problem.
just fucking things up.
Everybody's like, we're moving on, but let's
Yeah.
fucking continue.
No, but as I'm writing them, it's very, it makes me think of, because it's stuff that's applied, like it's not happening now, but it's things that could happen down the road, and sort of Black Mirror / Electric Dream-esque in that sense, where we're on the cusp of disaster in these senses. But anyway, sorry.
No problem.
More later.
I'm just trying to get it all out there.
Okay, all right.
For the people.
For the paper.
First one is schizophrenia. Forward arrow, forward arrow, forward arrow. Did you see any of these ahead of time?
Yeah, I saw them.
So this is from Watermark. Everyone should check him out on Instagram because he draws a lot of psychedelicness.
Yeah.
You know? And I asked him what he meant by schizophrenia as a topic, if he meant that I have it or the condition itself. And he said, mistaking the symptoms and as a result blaming environmental conditions, which is exactly what I would do when we work together. Blaming the factory of sadness for my strange attitudes and feelings, or schizophrenia itself. And then I asked him about Tappan. I think we've talked about Tappan on the show before.
I think so too.
But for anyone that's new, he is a Estonian on paper.
Oh.
Yeah, he says he is.
Yeah.
I know he's listening. I love you. But I still think that you're a Russian sleeper cell agent.
Yeah.
And once you get the call on that Motorola phone that you have in your wall, and you punch the wall out and take the phone out, and you start speaking only in Russian and disappear into a life of murder and subterfuge, I hope you remember us. But anyway, he told me a story about his youth when he would grow up in Estonia. And him and a buddy, I think he was 17, they went into an abandoned Soviet military base. And he's like, thinking back, I would go to get grenades or weapons. But instead, we go to infirmary. And we go through drugs. We find this one. He pulls it up on the Factory of Sadness computer, Russian Wikipedia. And he goes to Google English to Russian translation, starts typing, and he copies Russian text and throws it in there. And it brings up this tiny, tiny pill. And he copies some of the stuff into the changes it to Russian to English, and the instructions were: in case of exposure to nuclear explosion, take 1. In case of exposure to extreme radiation, i.e., basically skin melting off, teeth falling out, hair falling out, take several. He's like, we take these and we go back to our homes. How do you take out the trash if you live in an apartment? I was like, you just grab a bag, you go down to the parking lot. There's probably like a dumpster. You just throw it in there. He's like, exactly. My friend, he did this for 16 hours. Over and over again. It is like acid, and he pulls up the chemical compound, and then he compares it to acid. And he's like, it's a pharmaceutical, military-grade version of 1 or 2 compounds in LSD. And it is potent as fuck. So you're tripping. He's like, this is real as now. Everything here. But you're tripping.
What's the purpose of taking this if you've been...
Because you just trip your balls off while you die.
Just forget about everything. You're just like, man, this is some really pretty colors. I don't feel shit.
I say, is this just like pumping pure oxygen into masks on airplanes or something? Like,
Right,
it's just there to get you high in the end.
As
so
you're
you don't,
dying.
So you don't really give a fuck that you're
You're not
fucking...
panicking.
Yeah, as your thyroid gland fucking swells up like a softball, and your fucking skin just starts fucking falling off, and your eyes start bleeding.
You're tripping. It doesn't matter.
And you're just shitting out bloody diarrhea.
The
You don't
walls
really
are
care.
melting the same time your skin's melting.
That's fine.
So what's your thoughts on schizophrenia?
Well, okay, here's the thing. And you like, if you want my thoughts, I have an opinion about when it comes to schizophrenia and a couple other mental illnesses, or what we call them mental illnesses. And it's just, mind you, this is just a theory. It's not backed up. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that have this opinion about it. But my theory is that sometimes these illnesses are the half step between what we are now and what we will become eventually. Like, they're kind of the half step of evolution. Like, imagine a schizophrenic saying they hear voices in their head or something like that, right? It's the same argument I take with when Carl Sagan talks about Flatland and how someone from Flatland went to the third dimension, looked around, and then went back to Flatland and tried to explain to everybody what he saw. They would conceive it as crazy.
Right.
So
because you can't Unless you, I mean, even if you've seen it, you probably couldn't even perceive it.
Unless
you had some sort of extra.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Where I think sometimes these mental illnesses are actually it's a half step between what we are, what we can perceive now, and what we will eventually be able to perceive. Right. So like when they talk about hearing voices and seeing crazy shit and stuff like that, that's it's like a short circuit where they're kind of like it's flickering in and out of what will be next for us as a species.
Third eye open.
Yeah,
more or less. Yeah. To an extent, that's what I'm getting at. And it's the same thing. Like, I'm not saying that mediums and psychic, everyone who says they're a medium or a psychic is real, but there's been those times in history where people have been able to be like say someone goes missing, and they're at this place right now. How the fuck? Like, okay, unless you have the best educated guess in the world and you're able to just completely pull it out of the fucking ether, it's not like they're giving you 100 options where they could be. They're giving you one option and saying this is where they are.
You don't think these people are like Sherlock Holmes-esque, where they just pick up on all these subtle things and they're like, oh, they got to be here because of all these things that they didn't mention. Or that's a possibility too. But here's the thing:
you're talking you're talking psychic cold case shit.
But but that's the thing though. If you're thinking about like Sherlock Holmes and stuff like that with his power of deduction, right? Okay, modern people say, well, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was talking about somebody who was on the spectrum, who had autism. That's how Sherlock Holmes was able to deduce all these things. He was able to observe things in a different way that people didn't see.
Right.
But even if you take it at that, when I'm talking about these mental illnesses, even autism, if you're talking about it in that realm, could be deduced as one of those half steps that we're going to get to eventually.
Right.
To see the things that we don't see or we don't perceive, thinking in a different way. Right.
The items that we overlook. So even then, that's the possibility that they're doing something that down the road everybody will be able to do. It's think about the X-Men, where you have humans and then you have mutants, right?
Yeah.
Okay. To me, evolution doesn't jump suddenly like that, right?
Right.
Evolution takes half steps to the next phase.
I mean, you might find one person that's
an evolutionary fluke, right?
Exactly.
That might jump up,
it's
but
not going to be a whole bunch of X-Men, right?
Exactly.
The half step thing makes a lot of sense.
The half step makes more sense because, think about the fish that came up out of the water in evolution. They didn't just suddenly come out of the water and their children had legs, but over time, their pectoral fins developed more muscle and more definition when it came to be able to walk, and then they were able to walk. You know what I mean?
Right. Those mud hoppers.
So, imagine a mud hopper having the ability to get up on the land and then go back in the ocean, being the first one, and then going back to the other fish. Now, mind you, this is a conceivable world where they were able to communicate with each other,
right?
And try to explain to the other fish what the fuck he just did.
Hey, bros, check it out.
The biological version of Plato's cave.
They would all think he was crazy as fuck.
They killed his ass.
There you go.
Right. His only response, I asked him if he could send me some links about the psychotropic drug we just talked about.
Yeah.
It was used in the Russian bases. And his only response was, psychotropic medication is linked to irreversible deformation of the prefrontal cortex, cerebellum, hippocampus, and amygdala. Results, severe emotional instability accompanied...
Amygdala.
Results, severe emotional instability accompanied by extreme and uncontrollable outbursts of rage, violence, and aggression. Oh yeah, there is no recovery from this fun stuff.
So how fucked up is he from all this stuff that he took?
Do you have Instagram?
Yeah.
You should look up WHATAMARK, Watermark.
Oh, okay. I tried to look him up when you said his name, but I couldn't find it. I spelled it wrong, obviously.
So...
W-H...
I think we talked about this the other day when I was talking about Thorazine.
Yeah.
And how more or less that Thorazine was more or less hailed as a miracle because before then the only options they really had was electroshock therapy and lobotomizing people. And that...
Thorazine just drops them,
well,
right?
Thorazine is more or less temporary chemical lobotomization, lobotomy.
Only the absolutely required functions exist.
Well,
keep the body alive.
Well, it depends on how much you're taking. There's schizophrenics who take very, very super low doses, and it keeps them
level.
Keeps them right here. Because it's more or less just used. I mean, I don't know, Aaron the Red. I know you work at a pharmacy. Does anybody there get Thorazine?
No, Thorazine is no longer prescribed, as far as I know. I don't even think
really
they have it. I mean, well, I think that they might prescribe it in extreme cases, but it's not something that's commonly prescribed anymore. It was like the miracle drug back in
the
like
day,
the 50s,
in the 50s, because they didn't have to.
50s, they're like, oh yeah, it's like that's
They didn't have to didn't have to lobotomize people.
It was
anymore.
a chemical lobotomy.
Yeah,
and that's what I actually watched a show on Amazon about. It was called Lore.
I've seen that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So there was one it was all about the lobotomy.
Because, how it was more or less just super barbaric.
Well, yeah, of course it was. They're fucking shoving a thing and
just an
scrambling
ice
your brains.
pick, more or less, into your brain.
It's just a nicer way to do it.
And the guy couldn't even do it to his own wife when his son died.
Yeah.
Man.
She wanted it, too.
Yeah, she's like, help me.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this on Watermark's page, but this is a picture of Bones and Tubbs in the year 2247. He drew this at work.
That's nice. So what are you guys writing there?
Oh, well, I said, hey, will you draw a picture of, that we can use on our Instagram for Bones and Tubbs, like riding giant kittens into a nuclear explosion? And he's like, kittens.
No problem.
You want me to draw kittens? Riding
So he drew
kittens?
those fucking monstrous fucking Dr. Seuss looking creatures.
Which are, I mean, those
Through
are
my
his
own-
version of kittens, I guess.
my own psychosis made me call them sloops. Because if you notice, they had like long, cylindrical, tube-like, flesh-like mouths.
Yes.
And after, obviously, 2247 is long after the first war
Yeah.
that happened. So there are these things like dick trees.
Yeah, okay,
You ever
dick
seen
trees.
those? They're a real thing.
All right, no, I've never seen a
dick
dick
trees?
tree.
Yeah. I thought I showed you those.
Maybe you did.
Well, you'll
Dick
know
trees.
soon. Penis trees.
Check out some penises.
Google images.
No homo.
But no, but back to the...
Just real quick.
Oh, look at that.
So after
Is that an Amazon or
a few years of
That's pretty cool.
worldwide radioactive changes, the sloops are only able to maintain their safety by sucking the dick of the dick tree and sleeping up there at night.
And drinking the sap out of it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Through its tip.
I noticed they have natural bone spurs that stick out simply for our feet to sit on them.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat.
He said the reason why we're riding into the blast instead of away from it is because that's how we know where people are. Because that's where a surplus of weapons were and they blew up and we have to go there to get the food.
Nice.
Everybody.
Glad he thought that far ahead.
Watermark.
Yeah.
See what happens when you take military-grade psychedelics and try to maintain a real...
But it's... I mean, like I said, it's only just a speculation of mine that... I'm not saying all people with mental illnesses are, like, half psychics.
Right. Yeah.
But I think there are some out there that it could very well be in our future. I mean, all things considered, Toby Beans did go to that conference recently, and the person speaking did say that she believed that the cases of autism were going to continue to rise.
Oh, really? What was the reason?
Oh, you want to hear? I told you this reason already.
I know, but they want to hear too.
So you want to hear the reason this woman said why autism was on the rise?
Well,
sure. Yes.
First,
please.
can I preface it and say that it's not the shots? Okay, it's not the thimerosal. It's not the mercury in the shots.
It's not the mercury in the shots that you have to be worried about. She said that because the polar ice caps are melting. What? Yeah, I know. She said that large amounts of mercury are being released by global warming.
Sorry,
And
how?
I see. I said the same thing. I was like, as soon as she started saying it, Toby Beans was telling me about it. That's to say, she believed it, but this is what the woman had told me.
Right.
I was like, no. I was like, this is stupid.
Dumb as fuck.
Like, she even said, the woman prefaced it. She's like, I don't want to be political or anything. Oh, you don't want to be political.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
Those ice caps, yo.
Let's just go ahead and how can we get global warming in here? I got this.
Yeah.
She said, say no more.
Well,
But
they
she's-
do have all those volcanoes underneath the, which was it? Is it Antarctica or the North Pole?
Antarctica.
Antarctica, right. There's this giant chain of volcanoes under there, which may or may not be melting ice. You never know. It is hot.
Tell you, volcanoes too. I don't know if anybody pays attention to Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah, that thing's going to blow. We're all going to die. We'll be dead.
We're fucked.
Fuck it, man.
According to the
Well,
maps, we'll be fine. We'll be
right.
outside the secondary ash zone, but the
Right.
atmosphere itself will not be fine.
We'll be living in a nuclear winter and
2,000
we won't
years
be able to
from
grow anything.
yeah, so
There's a-
2,000 years from now, they're just going to be treating us like fucking citizens of Pompeii. Like, this is the decadent American society.
Right.
Like, they used to have shops that just had fucking penises in them.
We'll be up there screaming like the few survivors will be talking about how we were kangs. And they'll be like, you were never kangs.
Yeah.
You had all this time and look at what you've done. You live in mud huts, you know?
Yeah. And shit.
And shit.
They're trying to fuck with that shit under there too. Like there are some scientists talking about like drilling under there and trying to harness the energy. I'm like, dude, you're gonna
that's a great fucking idea.
You're gonna blow us all up.
It's a dumbass idea.
Right, exactly.
This chick on YouTube I follow, I think her name is Mary Greenlee. Okay. And she posts videos every fucking day of like the USGS surveys and lava formations and all that. She's been screaming about this for 6 months. And they just put it out in the papers the other day that they're like, oh, there's some crazy ground deformations going on at Yellowstone because of magma. And it looks like there's a lot of pressure involved. And they're like, but it erupted, 640,000 years ago, and it only erupts every 1 million, so we're fine.
I think we're overdue.
We're totally overdue.
Yeah,
they're changing it up. First they said it happened every 500,000 years, and then they're like, oh no, it's 1 million. So we've still got 360 million years to go.
Yeah.
Nice.
But clearly not. This shit's going on 3 miles under the ground. And we've had videos for the last 4 years of animals en masse running away from Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah, those earthquakes, man. Does anybody see? I was asking people. I had a geology class recently, and I was asking if anybody remembered the earthquake in 2000. I think it was 2012, somewhere around there. It might have been a little before in Kokomo, Indiana. Does anybody remember that? See, nobody seems to remember it.
You and I were together for an earthquake in Ohio once. Do you remember that?
No.
Me, you, and the Cooper. We were at the Boy Scouts of America running the archery range.
Huh.
And we were walking back. I remember I was going down to the haystack.
That would have been back in the heyday.
Going to the haystack to get the arrows, and something happened real quick. It was like, and we're like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, yeah. I do remember that. Yeah.
I don't know if that's probably not the one you were talking about.
No. This one was after. Ago. This was early in the morning because I was still asleep. I woke up my mom. My dog freaked the fuck out and was like whimpering and hiding next to the house,
painting fucking shit murals on the walls.
Yeah, I didn't even like wake up for it. It didn't disturb my slumber at all. But
yeah, I have to
heard about it. It
was
was all over the news. I was like, what?
You just tell your mom like you wouldn't have to worry about these things if you drank a little. Your sleep will be premium.
Yes.
Well, yeah. What was another topic we got?
The next topic that we have, let's see.
Should have contributed a topic. I apologize.
No worries. That's what we do here. Corey Dieters, Olympic updates. Mainly your view on the North Korea-South Korea merger. So here's a few things that I had on that because I found them interesting as I perused the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
.co.uk available on a state computer system near you.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny that they had this, the stomach bug outbreak?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where they had to replace, they claimed a stomach bug outbreak, right, in order to replace a lot of private security that were involved with the Olympics. And then they were like, well, we got to use the military.
Well, this is the South Korean military?
Yes.
Oh, huh.
So my goal on that, my thought goal on that was that the South Koreans or one of their allies had done it on purpose to get the military there.
Could be.
Because it's just a fucking kettle pot of fucking shit ready to explode.
Could be all that delicious and, moist, juicy dog meat that they're eating.
That too. Have they had their dog meat festival yet?
Did you hear that
China, right?
there are some Olympians that saved some puppies from the... Yeah. I was like, what? Who gives a crap? It's what they do.
Here's the thing. I get it's what they do.
It's their thing.
I was talking to somebody about this the other day. Now, here's the thing. Because it got brought up because they were saying that, like, officials in Pyongyang were trying to get these vendors to like chill the fuck out on their dog meat sales for a few days during the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna sell our dog meat."
Right.
Would you? And I was talking to the guy, and I agree on one point because he's like, "Fuck it." He's like, "Why should they have to stop selling their dog meat?"
Yeah.
I was like, okay. That being said, I agree with you. They should be allowed to sell their dog meat, but I was like, it's okay for me to say that eating dogs is morally abhorrent.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that's fine.
I'm cool with because fuck that shit. Like, have you seen this shit? They treat dogs like fucking pigs.
Oh, really? Like the ones they're raised
pigs
for
are smarter. Yeah, dude. Pigs have a higher IQ.
I would think that
dogs.
they would just so they eat them as adolescent, like as puppies, or they eat them as adults.
I imagine
kinda
it's
like
just
veal.
like
I imagine puppies are veal-like.
Veal-like, yeah, right. Yeah. I was like, they just chain them up and lock them in a little.
But that's the thing, though. Like, how? Like, okay, we eat all the meat. All the things we eat are out of because they taste delicious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
A dog doesn't taste delicious.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, no, listen, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that dog does not taste good. Okay?
I would beg to differ because they obviously love it.
But that's the thing. It was tradition for them. Like, it's,
Right.
it's
I
like
understand.
tradition. It's like how fucking people from fucking Wisconsin and shit who have Scandinavian roots eat lutefisk. Nobody likes lutefisk, but they eat it anyways
true.
because it's
Well,
traditional.
I think the Scandinavians do like it, but anybody that's never had... It's kind of like... You know how people in Skyline around here, they're like... People that never grew up with it, they're like, that's disgusting.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
I'm like,
yeah. I'll give you that.
I'm like, okay, so it's just like chili and spaghetti.
It's
and
also my
cheese.
favorite
It's
chili
delicious.
spaghetti place.
They also-
Exactly,
Go eat a
right.
dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also find it disgusting. Like, one,
like,
that
what's
we
your deal?
eat chili on spaghetti. Two, that we put raw onions on it. That was the one thing I've seen people
Really?
who aren't from around
They
here.
don't like raw
they
onions?
fucking flip because we put raw onions on cooked food.
Why don't you go eat some fucking soy chicken nuggets at McDonald's and faggot? They're everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, but
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like the people that grew up with it. What was that stuff called again?
lutefisk.
Lutefisk, right? The people that grew up with it, they're like, yes, lutefisk is the best thing I ever put in
It
the mouth.
is premium.
I don't believe you. If I put no,
Liar!
I don't believe
I'm gonna take a fresh piece of cod, beer battered, pass that to you, and I'm gonna pass a piece of lutefisk.
Oh,
and I'm gonna be like,
I'm gonna take the. I would never try lutefisk because
Be
I
like-
know it's like rotten fish.
well,
right?
it's fish that they preserved with lye.
right. No, fuck
No
that.
problem.
And then soak it to get the lye out of it, and it's like has a jellied consistency to it.
No.
But the thing, if you take someone who says they love lutefisk and you put those two pieces of fish in front of them and say pick, they're gonna pick that beer battered cod any day of the week because that
We
tastes
should
delicious.
find somebody that actually has grown up in Scandinavia and has acquired a taste for lutefisk and ask them. I want to try this experiment for real.
It's like how Asians hate cheese.
They hate cheese?
They don't eat
I don't
cheese.
think they hate
Well, they
it.
don't
I think
make
they
cheese,
genetically can't handle it because
Oh yeah, like
if you look at the there was a video
lactose intolerance.
of Kim Jong Un a couple
Okay,
years
so their
ago
bodies
around.
hate cheese.
Because he apparently spends, I think we talked about on a previous show,
can
however
drink
many
milk, though,
millions
right?
of dollars that he spends on cheese and whiskey every year. But
Oh yeah,
See, I don't think they drink as much milk. Like
they probably not.
they don't drink milk like we do. You know how they say like Westerners, well, like specifically Americans, smell
Right.
like blood and milk
Hell yeah.
because we fucking consume shitloads of it. But like,
What's wrong with that?
see, that's what I said.
yeah, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Like, I think it's badass that we smell like blood. First of all,
Yeah,
like
they
that should fucking stoke fear in the heart of any man.
That's
Any
right.
of our enemies. To go back to the North Korean, South Korean thing, I found a meme earlier this morning of Kim Jong Un, and it had a quote next to it. Did you see that? It says, "I got this fat because that way when I'm jacking off, I can't see that I'm jacking off a dick because that's gay as fuck."
I saw that. I did see that.
But I think it's crazy. Another story I saw in Daily Mail was that nobody has to worry. We all must accept the fact that it's 2018
Yeah.
and we still have a God King, right? That
Yeah.
starves his own people and kills whoever the fuck he wants and just gets anything he wants because he's from God, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So everybody must be cool with that. So the only way that I could accept a North Korean merger, so we must accept the fact that he's a God King. Nobody has to worry about the overprivileged North Koreans escaping because they're under constant guard. They're not allowed to room alone. They have people with them to make sure they don't defect.
You don't see too many South
Is-
Koreans defecting to North Korea.
So is North Korea participating in the Olympics?
yeah, they
are.
merged.
Oh, yeah.
They merged some of the North Korean, like they merged the women's North Korean and South Korean women's hockey teams
What?
because they didn't have enough players.
North Korea didn't have enough players, I'm assuming.
well,
or did
both
South
of
Korea
them.
not?
Neither
Well, it's
of them
probably
did.
South because they're not doing as well as the
I didn't
North
know
is.
that the Asians could play hockey first of all.
I didn't know that either. You're right.
So
Is there math involved with hockey? Because
The more you know,
I mean,
right?
maybe
Yeah.
physics. That's about it. But then you have to be coordinated. So,
But
they
no,
are
they
vicious.
they
if you've seen
actually.
any of their military parades, they're vicious.
Well, they came
Yeah.
in. They during the opening ceremonies, they came in under a united flag. It was a
Really?
white flag with the whole Korean peninsula on it.
The only way I could see a North Korea and South Korea merger country-wise working is if North Korea was at the helm, because South Korea is fucking up. I mean, if you look at the nighttime lights, there is very little light in North Korea.
oh yeah,
It's only in Pyongyang. That's because they figured out how to not harm the planet, right? So
Carbon footprint is minimal as
right,
fuck.
minimal AF. So South
They're
Korea
looking out
clearly
for that Mother
they're
Earth.
way too dangerous.
Yeah,
We need to get rid of their democratization and their freedom.
Yeah.
Samsung, just blow all of that shit up.
If I had my way, though, we'd just abolish the state. That's my anarchist view.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But no, they, I don't know, like, I'm not going to go on some fucking, I see a lot of conservative people bitching because, like, CNN was, like, basically fawning over Kim Jong-un's sister.
He has a sister?
Yeah. She's at the
She's not
Olympics.
dead yet.
Yeah, she's at the Olympics, and they were, like, fawning over her and, like, saying it was a disgrace because Mike Pence didn't stand up for the Korean national anthem and shit. And it's just like...
Shut the fuck up.
Why do you expect Mike Pence to stand up for that?
Right. Yeah. He probably didn't even know it was time. He didn't probably know what the fuck was going on.
Mike
first
Pence,
of all.
What is this screeching noise?
Mike Pence should have thrown up a black power fist and took a knee. You want to make headlines.
That would have, yeah.
That's how it works.
Well, you know,
Or just stood up and did the Nazi salute to fucking narrate all the lefties.
It's the same
Yes.
shit as before, because, like, suddenly, like, they just want to completely, the CNN just wants to completely forgive because they have this one moment of goodwill between those two countries, and they crossed the line and said, you know what, let's work together on this.
Right.
They want to fucking fawn over them because of that kind of diplomacy, when it's like, motherfucker, there are people still fucking starving to death up there while this is going on right
They
now.
got those labor camps and all that other
So,
stuff, and it's like...
Yeah, that one good fake piece of goodwill sure does go far, doesn't it?
Yep.
Ooh-wee.
I bet you everybody got a nice fucking extra rice ration for one of their meals for it, too.
Just 'cause
He got extra chicken.
North Korea just
Like
wants
chicken.
a chance to win a gold medal so they can melt it down and sell it.
Yeah, exactly.
He
know
wants
those
to.
people aren't gonna get to keep
Kim
it.
Jong-un
no.
Kim Jong-un needs a new pimp cup.
Daddy needs a new
This
pimp
is
cup.
made from the Olympic gold medals.
I
The
smoked out of
motherfucker
this
is
gold
like
bong.
For some reason,
he is
it's not
he is an
Russian
actual Bond villain. For fuck's sake.
yeah, for
okay?
real, yeah,
Come on
yeah.
now.
Ridiculous ass with your stupid fucking haircut.
And his fucking black fucking. I don't even know.
I wish somebody would sneak, because you know one of the most popular things with technology is that the South Koreans, they have like various tunnels into North Korea where they do smuggle runs.
Yeah.
You ever seen that?
Uh-huh.
It's something put on, it's on YouTube, I watched it.
Yeah.
But they like to load like terabytes of fucking information on various
Porn.
like sticks,
hell
porn,
yeah.
current movies, actual news, actual fake news. And they throw it on these things and give them like little tiny laptops to watch it on, to let them know like what's really going on in the world. But I like to think that they're just trying to work for big oil. Really, North Korea is on point with their energy usage,
Yeah.
No.
and they're just propagandists.
Oh, yeah.
We just made the entire world North Korea. I can't remember the Xbox game I played, but firstly, what happened?
There's Homefront.
Homefront, yeah.
Yeah.
That game
Is that
was
North Korea? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it was North Korea. They shot a peace satellite or something up in
Yeah,
there. and
yeah,
it
yeah.
EMP'd the United States, and then they invaded.
The multiplayer kind of sucked, though, but...
I'm sure it did. I never did
Oh,
multiplayer.
well. I did it for a little bit.
This is lame.
Yeah.
The story was cool, though. If
Yeah,
you like
it's
getting
alright.
freaked
It'll be
out.
easy because if they invaded us, we would just do some fucking crossing the Delaware shit. Wait till they get fucking sleepy on all of our delicious food that they've never had before, and then we slaughter them. It's that easy. Fuck.
You just hear him screaming, cheddar cheese, cheddar cheese! and like wait 12 hours and just fucking go in there and
So
slit their
they're
throats.
in a lactose coma.
Yeah.
We like come in with a fucking Trojan horse of cheese. Literally just made of cheese. Like, here.
Here's a peace offering. You can have us. I'm gonna try to find that video again and post it on the Bones and Tubs Facebook page. But he looked fucked up, and that's what happens when you see a North Korean on some American shit. Because he had bourbon and he had cheese, and he was gouted up.
You know he's fucking
swollen.
all sweaty and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
It looked like a fat Asian,
Like he had
and
the meat
his
sweats.
his fucking legs and arms were sausage links. There were no feet or hands, and he kept stumbling out of the way. And they're like, "He must have been poisoned."
Right,
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
He had
Poisoned
real
by
nourishment,
cheese.
saturated fat in your ass,
That's right.
lactose.
Yeah, I don't really, honestly, to answer Corey Deer's question, I really don't give a shit.
I don't give a fuck.
I mean, like, I'm not.
I think this could change.
What's this?
anything
What's
here.
this goodwill? This fake goodwill? It doesn't matter to me. Like,
Right.
it's empty and it's hollow and it doesn't mean anything.
In other news, we bombed a fucking Russian tank.
What?
You see that?
What happened?
Apparently, it happened Saturday
Is it in
last
Syria?
weekend.
Where's this- Oh, in Syria.
U.S. jets fired on a Russian tank and killed the occupants.
Damn. Was it like a warthog tank killer, or was it just something from the random ass
They
air?
were basically, it was a fact that it was a crossover of the proxy war because we've been arming the rebels, they've been arming the Syrian government.
Right, of course.
And then they were like, you know what, fuck that tank in particular. So how's that for goodwill?
Yeah.
You know, we're not on the brink of World War III at all or anything.
No, I think it'd be fine. It'd be fine.
It's cool.
Everything's fine.
Those Russians were dicks anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
They deserved it, actually.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But, no, I think we were talking about before the show. I wanted to touch on the fact that I'm pretty sure at this point that just like alt-right likes to troll people and likes to rabble rouse, I think Barack Obama just did the same thing when he commissioned that dude to paint his portrait for him. Did you hear about this?
No, what's this?
Okay, have you seen the portrait?
No.
Okay, I mean,
I'm going to Google it real quick.
There's nothing spectacular about it. It's
you
just
guys
him.
keep talking. I'm going to go outside and check for North Koreans.
Okay.
Is it like a bush?
It's like, well,
like a bush painting?
No, he's like, I mean, it's not very good, and neither is Michelle's.
Oh, of course not.
But it's just him like sitting in some shrubbery, more or less.
In some shrubbery.
Yeah.
That
Which is
reminds me
different than
Monty
most of the
Python.
portraits they do of the presidents, because most of them, like, they're in an office or something.
That is the first search. Barack Obama portrait.
Yeah.
After Barack Obama portrait.
Take a gander at that real quick.
It kind of looks like Andy Warhol, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, now that's
what
not the thing I
fuck?
want to talk about. Why he's trolling? What I wanted to talk about was the fact that the person he picked to do his portrait is famous for some other artwork that he did, involving pictures of black women holding decapitated heads of white women.
Wait, he painted these himself or
Barack?
Yeah.
No, the artist who did
Oh, okay, the artist.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
I firmly and fully believe you had a lot of conservatives fucking. The hen house went nuts.
Yeah.
And I think like half the shit they do now is just trolling. Like they say, like SJWs, all of them. I think every time they fucking open their mouths, there's a 50% chance that whatever they're saying is just being said simply to piss the other side off.
Yeah.
Which makes them just as fragile as any SJW.
Yeah. It's true.
But yeah.
I watched somebody I know on Facebook posted something about the alt-right. It was really a white supremacist movement. It was in South Carolina. This was a few years ago when they were marching for, they were trying to preserve the, what they call it, Confederate statues that were there in that town. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about how they're like these terrible people or whatever. I'm like, the alt left does the same thing. So what? I don't know. And she's talking about how, like, she was saying, like, Trump enabled them to do that, to be bold enough to do this. I was like, this is some bullshit because, I mean, it's really just a result of everything. It's not, Trump didn't do shit for these people. But
It's that whole thing. Like I said, I don't put much stock in it anymore. Is there a problem?
that's true.
No problem.
Oh, okay. I don't put too much stock into it anymore. It doesn't really. I've learned to deflect.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless.
No, it doesn't.
It's meaningless. Just like how, like everybody's praising this new Black Panther movie before it even comes out.
Why?
And
Is it another new Black Panther movement?
no movie.
Oh,
The
movie.
Black Panther.
Oh, that Black. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I was
and
like,
everybody's praising it. It hasn't even come out yet, and what I find funny is that the left is just like going nuts over this movie because it has an all black cast virtually.
of course.
But they're praising it, and they're getting fucking crazy over. Basically, if I mean, you don't have to reverse the roles. It is what it is.
Right.
Dude, they're talking about a country that is a fascist ethno-state. Isolationist ethno-state.
Oh, yeah,
It's fine though because
It's basically North Korea.
They're xenophobic.
they
in a
can't
way.
be racist though because racist has to have power, right?
We talked about this on the last show.
I'm just trolling.
I was talking to the doctor about that movie, and he's like, I ain't gonna go see that bullshit.
No.
I kind of want to see it.
I mean, I'll go see it. And then he changed his mind. He's like, yeah, I'll go see it.
But then,
Just
you
to
know what
see
breaks my
it's
heart
about, but-
is they're talking about this is the first African-American-led superhero movie. And it's like, everybody's memory must be
it's
shitty.
not.
I was like, what
There's
about
like-
Blade?
Or Shazam.
Well,
Blade was on
Well, it's not
fleek.
superhero, but...
You're thinking about Steel.
Oh, yes.
Steel. That had Shaquille O'Neal in it as
Django?
well.
Django, yeah. Well, he's not a superhero, but yeah.
I mean,
Let's
was a
keep
white
it
killer.
exclusively in the realm of, let's just say Marvel. And he's not the first because fucking Blade.
Is Blade Marvel?
Blade was Marvel.
Huh.
Did you
That
drink
movie was just on
Pablo yet?
TV the other day.
No.
I was watching it.
Split it?
Blade.
Yeah, sure.
Gotta kill
I mean, if you want to keep
No, that's fine.
All right.
No, Blade is the shit. That movie's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Can I have that?
This
I fucking love that
My
movie.
thought juice is running low.
This kills me. Everybody's memory is so short. We've already seen a black superhero fucking kick
You know what
ass.
they mean though when they say that though. They're just trying to prove that an all black cast, all black everything is what's best. Blade probably had some white people in it. Django clearly had
Whistler was Chris Christopherson. I mean,
Oh yeah, that's true.
so I mean,
Now you've played Overwatch, so you'll catch this reference.
Oh yeah.
But I told him before because he's going to get a PlayStation, and he's going to get it. But I
You
said,
should really just get a PC, bro.
look at fucking Numbani. Wait till you see it.
Oh.
The futuristic African state, right? Never going to happen. You want to go over into the future of whatever year that is? No. Still going to be the same shit. Still going to be warring tribes, side by side, AKing the fuck out of people. There's not going to be any hovering cars or fucking giant, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's fake.
Right.
like they have to
Fake
take
news.
they have to take mass classes on how to not rape people. Yeah, I just saw a video of it the other day. Like it's in somewhere.
They
Kenya,
ask,
maybe.
Is that it? They just have to ask. I
Well-
met a lady from Kenya once. Actually, she had a British accent. And she was white, but
You just fucking
no, it was at the Grand Canyon.
oh, as I say, you sent me in multiple levels. A Kenyan, a
White Kenyan
with a British accent.
I mean, it was probably more like South African. You know, you can't hardly tell the difference unless you put them up next to each other. But I was like, "You're from Kenya?
Like I always,
Why aren't you black?"
although South Africans, I found when it comes to understanding people with not British accents, but those kind of accents, the British are the easiest to understand.
yeah.
Scottish come next.
Well, it depends on what.
Well, no.
you're
Let
from.
me rephrase that. And I'm just lumping basically all Anglo white people into one category here, but it's whatever.
Racist.
Okay, so English people come first. I can understand them the easiest.
Yeah.
Irish come after that.
And all that raw.
Okay, Scottish are after that. Okay, then New Zealanders,
You can't understand Australians.
Australians,
You
and
put
then
them under
South
the-
Africans.
you put
South
them-
Africans are the hardest English-speaking people to understand.
You put
Really?
New Zealanders
I-
under Scottish people?
I can understand New Zealanders all day. Their accent's fairly flat.
I mean, well,
I thought
it
you
really
meant they were
depends
less
on where you're talking
understandable.
about from the UK. Because if they're from if they have like a Cockney accent, they're like,
Okay, but I'm talking
depends.
about standard,
regional.
like
Oh yeah, like
Let's just say
a Londoner. we'll call
a
it.
Londoner.
Yeah.
easy to understand.
Maybe not
Now,
similar slang.
like low level impoverished English people,
Yeah,
you're going to be on par with
Like,
probably maybe even as low down the bar as South Africans are in my mind.
like Pikeys, movie Snatch, Pikeys.
Yeah.
What was Brad Pitt was a Pikey. You look.
If you wanted to
What's he saying?
if you wanted to take that list out that you just made,
Yeah.
you wanted to make it macro, expand it out. Where on that list would East Dayton fall? East Dayton / Hamilton.
I don't know. They got to be somewhere after Scottish, but before Australian.
Most assuredly.
Oh, dude, I was at a Wendy's in where was that? I was at what's the name of that place? There used to be Moraine, right?
Yeah.
Wendy's in Moraine. I was trying to order, walked in
Toilet
trying
Town.
to order, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I could not understand a fucking word that came out of this dude's mouth. I had to ask him to repeat himself like every time he talked.
Hold on, let me stop you. What the fuck are you saying?
Right? Exactly. I was like, I'm sorry, what? What would you like to drink with that? Oh, Sprite, please, or whatever.
He just hears like as you drive away to fucking Taco Bell or somewhere.
I don't know. I got my food there, so
Well, there it is.
You know
at
what the
least
worst.
I could communicate with him.
Yeah.
That's
You know what
good.
the worst
You were able
is-
to understand the dialect.
is
Yeah.
talking to somebody like, and this could be just an English speaking person that's hard to understand, or someone whose English is a second language to them, and
No, he's
they're-
white
they
as fuck.
and they ask you a question, and you don't know what they said, and you don't want to be embarrassed and ask them again.
Right.
It's like I've been in a restaurant before, and the waiter comes up. I can't understand what they're saying, so I'm just like, after saying what, huh, about 7 or 8 times, then I just kind of give up, and I'm like, okay, yeah.
Just what you said.
They
Then
used
like
to-
your order gets there, and you're like,
That's not what I mean.
man, damn it.
There was there used to be a hibachi place in Trenton across from the Snap Fitness there. Jason's Japanese Hibachi. It was the best.
Yeah.
It was killer hibachi.
Wait, where was this at?
Across,
Trenton.
you know where New York Casanas is in Trenton?
Oh, I know where you're talking. I've been there before.
It's like some sort of little stupid shit now.
Yeah.
It used to be. It was the shit. It was cheap as fuck.
Some country
Delicious
breakfast
food.
place now. I
Right.
think.
Yeah. And this the lady was like a wife and husband, and they had little kiddos in there sometimes at night.
They were the ones that
But
did all the work.
the lady is the one who always came and served you, right? She spoke very, very broken English. She knew what I wanted, right? Because we went in there so often.
Pussy.
With the Polish, was it the Polish Nightmare? Or whatever?
Yeah.
So, let's see.
Polish Nightmare.
But she'd always say like, "Thank you, come again," or "Excuse me," right?
Yeah.
But she would say, "Mountain Dew," right? Like, because I always wanted Mountain Dew.
She always
But
remembered.
yeah, she did. She did
wanted
have
to-
that Asian memory.
She
But
wanted to sit down.
One
on that
time she was
red-haired
asking
face.
me. Yeah, one time she was asking me what I wanted to drink, and I could not for the life of me understand what she said. She repeated herself 4 times. I was like, "Oh yeah, Mountain Dew."
Yeah.
It's like, just bring me the shit. Come on.
So sad when they shut that place down. It was so fucking good.
Oh yeah, they probably had to deport him.
That's like a terrible. I mean, that's just a terrible place to have a restaurant, though.
Yeah,
You're like right
it's like-
before a fucking sewage plant.
Yeah,
You know?
it was like jalapenos. If you ever went to that restaurant in Middletown that was there, it was next to
Oh yeah,
Premier
yeah,
Fitness.
yeah.
It was right there. Terrible place for restaurant.
Horrible.
Great food.
Yeah, it's just like the land is cursed,
Right.
kind of
yeah.
like Haiti.
Yep. It's like unholy turf land.
Do you guys
Yeah.
want to, before we end this or our batteries kill off, can I involve you along with the listening audience in this experiment?
Sure.
that I've crafted at 5 this morning. So I'm gonna read off a list, tenets of morality, and if you guys want to keep like a physical dash in a phone or maybe like a mental note of which ones you agree with, and then at the end we'll tally. Everybody listening should do the same. I made this. This is an experiment to show how far society's come.
Okay.
This is through my study of natural law.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
If you're driving, obviously you probably shouldn't.
No.
Just probably put it on pause.
We want all of our listeners to say safe.
Right.
Don't text and drive.
Safe
folks.
and sound.
Don't
Which
text.
was another episode of Electric Dreams. Just saying.
Yeah.
Which was a good one.
Just throwing it out there. Okay, so the first one, actually, all right, well, yeah, we'll start here. Number 1, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over land and institution.
No.
Just note.
How am I supposed to note it? Like,
You just
agree
don't put
or-
it.
What do you mean?
Just mark. I guess you
Yeah,
should
like,
mark everything.
just mark
that
the ones you agree
with,
with.
or-
Oh, okay.
and don't mark the ones you do. Don't.
I'm just going to run through this. One's body is individual, subject to one's own will alone. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the right to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego your own beliefs. Let's see. One should maintain the position that moral or ethical propositions do not reflect objective or universal moral truths, but instead make claims relative to social, cultural, historical, personal circumstances. It does not deny outright the truth, value, justification of moral statements. Boiled down, that one's when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And the final one, the study of or belief in the possibility of improving the qualities of the human species or human population by such means as discouraging reproduction by persons having genetic defects or presumed to have inheritable undesirable traits, or encouraging reproduction by persons presumed to have inheritable desirable traits.
Okay.
So let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, 4,
Should have been
5,
6
6,
questions.
Seven.
Wait, 7?
7 total.
That was 7. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. I only got 6 responses. Shit. Okay.
Now, out of the 7, how many did you guys agree with?
3.
3, okay.
I agreed with as far as I got because I only had 6, but I agreed with 4.
Okay. Do you want to know?
Disagreed with 2.
Okay. I'm assuming you disagree with eugenics?
Oh, definitively.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was the last one, right?
I had
That was
2.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought.
I had 2 that I agreed with, but I think those were peppered in there to...
Can we go over them again and see which ones we were agreeing with?
Yeah. So, what'd you guys say for one should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards the creature, all creatures in accordance with reason?
I said yes.
Yeah, I agreed with that.
I agree.
Okay. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over land and institution.
I disagreed with that.
Okay, that was the one I skipped, I think. And
okay.
I disagree with that one.
Yeah, I disagree.
Yeah.
Okay. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone.
I agreed with that.
I agreed with that.
I agree with that one also. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the right to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forgo your own right.
I agreed with that one.
Agreed
too.
with that one as
So
well.
did I.
And the rest I pretty much disagreed with.
Yeah.
It was one of those three.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do.
I disagree.
Yeah, I was like, well,
And then
that
the,
can mean a lot of stuff.
Guided reproduction.
And that goes back to our dog eating talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
Because
You
I'm
don't
sorry,
have to do
I'm
as
not.
the Romans do, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I talked about, and this goes deeper than just like objecting to something. This goes to the notion that, in my mind, I believe that at least to an extent, what we've created in the Western world is the closest we've gotten to perfection.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Okay. That being said, like I think of it in the sense of
Definitely not there, but it's close.
think about the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Empire went out and fucking spread their word across the world, and they willfully were able to decide if they saw some fucking savage people that they could say, "You motherfuckers are savages."
Bitch.
Right.
What we're doing is much better than yours.
Right.
Okay, so I'm beginning to live with that notion that okay, I have morals, and there is a moral standard that I'm going to fucking abide by.
Right.
And whatever isn't part of my standard could go fuck itself, and I'm not going to try to like appease anybody in the process.
Right.
Anyway, sorry,
Oh, you're fine. That's what I wanted.
but
But anybody that did this also should list their number in the comments section of the post. But it's basically, I pulled those from the Church of Satan.
Oh, really?
Okay, so those are the modern day tenets of Satanism.
Huh.
okay.
Well,
And
they have some good ones.
All but 2 or 3 of them are in direct violation of natural law.
Yeah.
The last
So-
2 were the ones that I actually was the entire reason for this conversation.
I
So-
disagreed with the last two.
Yeah,
the last
me
2
too.
weren't even questions. They were just beliefs that they try to act like they don't have that are actually core tenet beliefs of Satanism.
Yeah, because
The
the whole notion of weeding out, like anytime anybody's like, we need to weed out the bad genetics and stuff,
Right.
that should be anybody's signal call to like get triggered, get the fucking trigger,
Yeah, right.
throw some chairs against the fucking wall. No, that's some fucking bullshit.
The first one I asked about with the position, basically, do as the Romans do when in Rome. That was the definition. It wasn't a question, but like I said, it's a moral tenet of Satanism. It's moral relativism.
Yeah, I
That
don't.
doesn't make sense.
So wait,
in
are you
the
saying
way
that
of Satanism,
Are you saying that Satanists agree with that notion?
Absolutely.
That you should just like say you go to Thailand
Well,
and there's
here's the
fucking
thing.
there's lady boys all over the place, 12-year-old lady boys. You're supposed to just like fuck lady boys because you're there and that's what
Basically, the idea of Satanism is that they have this twist, right? So they have beliefs that they propagate upon other people, such as stupidity and ignorance and all that. But they're core beliefs that they're not allowed to believe in, right?
What if they're actually in Rome? Are they supposed to like believe in Jesus and
Catholicism?
God? Yeah, Catholicism.
Right.
'Cause
No.
That doesn't make sense at all.
No, this is their public belief system.
Ah, okay.
And the last one was eugenics. Just those are both definitions of moral relativism and then
Right.
eugenics. But I read a study after listening to that Mark Passio thing that I posted on the page of Natural Law, where he said that there was a study, nationwide study given, where 60 or 65% of everyone studied believed in moral relativism.
So they believe the notion that when in Rome.
Yeah. And they also believe in eugenics. So basically, 60% of people, according to that study, are in direct violation of natural law, and that would explain why, at least in my mind, there's such a rise in depression, anxiety, and all this, because that's your body rebelling against, a thought process that was forced upon you that you now believe in. Like you are adamantly fighting against yourself. Drop these beliefs. He talks about in that 8-hour presentation that he did exactly what I did. He wrote those things down, and he covered the title. I wouldn't say he wrote them down, but he printed them off the Church of Satan website, and he covered the title of the website and showed it to his grandma.
Yeah, see, the thing is like when it comes to moral relativism, this goes back to my whole notion that like, no, we have to understand like this is why multiculturalism will fail, because if you let the fucking wolves into the den,
It's over.
if you let the wolves into this fucking into the barn,
Yeah.
they're gonna devour, right?
Sure, yeah.
Especially if you welcome them in. And this is my whole notion about why we can't just fucking wholesale buy what these like. This is why Rome you know, I get it. Rome failed, but the reason part of the reason why Rome failed is because they gave up their central tenets about what Rome was.
Right.
And the whole notion that yes, they lived in a multi-ethnic culture, mm-hmm. that had all different types of people of color living in their empire, right? And they were citizens, mm-hmm. right? But it was not multicultural.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They were forced to comply.
You comply. Like you could worship another god if you wanted to, but if it went against the grain of what Rome was, they were gonna fucking kill you. It's that fucking simple.
Right.
I'm not saying that all what they did was right, but in this day and age, we have to understand that the great thinkers that came before us, Paine, Rousseau, all those who, as you know, abided by natural law. Those are the tenets we need to live by.
Yeah.
Those are the things we need to live by.
Regardless of you,
and I don't
through your
even,
mind control, believe in them or not, those are the laws that are put down in the universe.
like, and I think in all reality, I think that the pinnacle of Western philosophy ended with those 17th, 18th century philosophers, because once you get past that, then you start getting into the Schopenhauers. Basically, the whole humanity is terrible philosophers like Nietzsche and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, and I think Nietzsche is where, here's the thing, as I respect certain aspects of Nietzsche because he was able to more or less predict where humanity was going, but the problem is that it wasn't good, and he admits that his philosophy had a dismal outlook on where humanity was going to end up.
Was he the original cuck?
He wasn't a cuck. I wouldn't call him a cuck by any means.
But I mean,
he understood what was going to happen because he brought up on the notion of the Übermensch, which, if we all know, basically the entirety of Western politics is filled with Übermensches now because they have no morals and they have their drive is only towards power.
Right.
They will completely shirk everything that they claim to believe in a moment if it means that they get to either rise or retain the power that they have. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. Basically, they don't want to be unpopular.
Right.
And the thing is that sometimes even like Rousseau and Paine and philosophers like that understood that there were times when you had to be unpopular if you were going to hold on to the belief system that you had.
Right. Popularity, just like power, doesn't necessarily dictate morality. Obviously,
think about it like this: like if our founding fathers would have lived in the age of the Übermensch, George Washington would have basically been president for the rest of his life. He wouldn't have given up his army.
God king.
He would have created himself a king, but he didn't. Okay, same thing with John Adams. You know, if John Adams lived in the time of the Übermensch, he wouldn't have fucking represented the British soldiers at the Boston Massacre and got them cleared of the charges that were against them for murder.
Trying to do the right thing.
Because he understood that even like when it comes to justice isn't something that like should only be given part and parcel sometimes. It's given all the time to anybody. Like, and that's the thing. It made him wildly unpopular to do it.
Yeah.
But he did it because he understood that
it was right.
That true justice is greater than
being
popular.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point I'm getting at. Is that sometimes it's not about being popular, it's about doing the right thing. The right thing. Yeah, you said it.
And that's why we can't just use the popular vote, folks.
Yeah.
Civics.
Yeah.
Some of you motherfuckers need to go out there and take a civics class and figure this shit out for yourselves.
Now, I'm not going to necessarily recommend exactly what the statement says, but I will say it with the same veracity that was said in Bad Boys 2. Or Bad Boys 1. One of the Bad Boys movies.
Yeah.
Y'all two motherfuckers need Jesus. Y'all
all
up
right.
in here. I got
and
children.
that being said, I think it's time to wrap up the show.
It's time for lunch, bitches.
Yeah, it is time. Time for them wangs.
Wangs in our mouth.
You guys like wangs?
Yeah.
Well, we like wangs.
We was wangs and shit.
All right. But anyways, we'd like to thank y'all for listening.
We hope you enjoyed the episode.
We'd like to thank Aaron Red for coming on the show with us. It was
and
great
building the rig that's going to bring about much happiness amongst the Bones and Tubs Nation.
I'll download it for you.
You guys check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Patreon if you're feeling extra froggy. Listen to the show. We appreciate it. I'd like to thank Ryan Simpson for letting us use his music on the show. Ryan, we love you, even though we kind of gave you a little bit of shade on the last episode.
I'm sure he does.
Was it the last episode we gave all that shade?
It was the last one.
Yeah, we gave him some shade.
It was directed shade, though. We offered him to come on and talk about it.
Yeah. It wasn't like irreverent shit throwing.
We're not going to bully either. We're totally open-minded as long as you don't violate natural law, you fuck.
Yeah. So, we'd like to thank you all for listening, and we hope to see you guys next time.
We love you.
We really do.